Highly unlikely, and this is in line with Al-Shabaab's modus operandi. They do not want to be seen to be antagonizing, the general public. So they would rather be quiet, no claim responsibility when everybody knows that, wink, wink, nod, nod, everybody knows that. It's Al-Shabaab that has the capacity, as you mentioned, and the motive to carry this kind of sophisticated attack.
So the big question then, is this a sign of an Al-Shabaab resurgence? Because we've almost seen the group kind of attacking cities that hasn't done in years. In July, we had Kismayo, and early in January, a siege in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi.
In many ways, I think a lot of the time we need to reckon that, yes, Al-Shabaab has been degraded. Yes, Al-Shabaab is on the back foot, but Al-Shabaab is making a virtue out of necessity. They've been pushed away from all the, territories that they used to control in south-central Somalia. They've obviously lost the post of Kismayo from 2011, but what they are doing is reinventing themselves into a guerrilla that can attack at will. That means they can move in and out. That requires not a great deal of sophistication. So that is what we need to bear in mind. Yes, the big question, therefore, is because of these kinds of large-scale, headline-grabbing attacks, we've got to pose the question, what role, if any, the Somali authorities are playing, as well as other, countries that have sent their forces inside Somalia. That's Kenya, Burundi, as well as Uganda.
I'm glad you brought that up because, as we know, the African troops are helping to patrol Somalia right now. The handover expected in May. Is the Somali government ready?
No, they are not ready. But the other fundamental question is, will they ever be ready? The drawdown is next year, as you mentioned. The election is next year. So 2020, therefore, becomes a critical year for Somalia. And all indications are the country and the government and authorities are not ready. One more cynical move today. When the country was going through this, the government passed an electoral law where there has not been adequate consultation. Yes, Al-Shabaab, they are carrying out all this massive terrorist attack. The Somali political elite need not to be let off very easily because they are cynical and they are part of the same problem.
And so we have to bring in another foreign player, the U.S. They've got about 500 troops there training Somali special forces and also been carrying out dozens of airstrikes targeting Al-Shabaab this year. Is that working?
The reality is it's not working. If it was working, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. And some of those attacks, to be honest with you, have in many ways, yes, made Al-Shabaab not be able to meet. Some of their meetings, they do not take place because they are being tracked. They know that very well. But they have also gone ahead. If you read Amnesty reports that was released this year, they targeted some of the victims were actually civilians instead of the militants.
Very quickly, you mentioned Al-Shabaab reinventing itself. Is that one of the key of its resilience, then?
It is. The thing is, a lot of the time, because they are not, the good guys in the Somali space, we tend to forget that this group has been fairly resilient. That is not to pass a positive judgment about the group, but just to reiterate that they are good at what they need to be doing.